Do you feel the pressure to grow your business, but doing so feels a bit like drowning? Welcome to Slow Growth Business, the show for business owners and leaders to quiet the noise and lead your business to success, one day at a time, slow and steady. If you feel your business is running you and you're ready to run it, you've come to the right place. Now, here are your hosts, business coaches Jimmy DeGroat and me, Kyle Bullock.
Here we go. Intro. Hey,
But-
new layout. We are in a relaxing. It's a new layout. It's a new setup.
And here's why, everybody. We're in a new situation this week. We're in a new couched position. Two important reasons. One is our backs are just exhausted and tired of sitting and old, grouchy all the time. So the couch just sounded better. And also, there's a big leak in my office over a desk area, and I've had to move my furniture, and this was in the way. And so here I am, and then Jimmy is in kind, and so you're getting a relaxed version of we're getting into a relaxed state of mind.
I love it.
Grab a couch, everyone. Pull up a comfy chair. I've got one for us this week.
Let's dive in.
Okay, we just had a lovely.
Hey, by the way, before we get rolling, you gotta subscribe. Okay. You got to subscribe. Most of the listeners of our podcast are not subscribed. So they rely on the luck of the draw for it to show up in their feed. If you subscribe and hit the little bell, you're going to get a notice when we have a new podcast out. So please subscribe. We need you.
We need you, and you need us, and we all need a couch like this to sit in and relax. And talk about the future. Let's talk about something exciting. I got a good one for you, Jimmy. We just had a client call this morning doing a one-on-one, which is what we do here at Train Retail. We do a lot of things to help train people, went through your sales training and management training solutions. The way that I've been putting it, I was just joking with you earlier, is what does Train Retail do? What problem do we really solve? Well, we help your retail company, specifically you, the leader inside your retail company. We help you keep your pants from flying away. That's what we do.
Yep.
And we go, what?
Flying by the seat
What do you
of your
mean
pants.
you're flying by the seat of your pants, and you're exhausted and you're flipping out, and you go, I can't keep running the business by flying around with the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
So we help keep your pants grounded.
Now listen, honestly though, but that's not a negative. Okay, it's just the state you found yourself in. Because why? Because you're an entrepreneur. You are an independent person. You want to make your own decisions. You want to own your own company. And that's typically how we end up in this spot, right?
Absolutely.
So kudos to you for getting to where you've gotten.
Absolutely.
And it's usually at some point where we hit the glass ceiling or we've outgrown the box that we've grown up in, that we need guys like us.
Yep.
Guys like us.
Okay, I can't sing anymore, or else we have to pay royalties. So we're helping a client keep his hands from flying away this morning. One of the ways that we do that is we have an assessment, a metric assessment. We look at things from your profit to your average retail goals and your income goals. We put it on paper. We help you see how it's trending, growing, and specifically where you as a company or your store can work on to affect real change in your business. And as he's looking at it with us, we're going through his review. His impression of it was just like, wow, I've never seen it this way. And even one of the things he even said was, I thought we were in a worse place than we were. I thought things were way more off than you're showing. And actually, this is kind of reassuring. It feels, which is totally the case. It often feel like you're in a much worse situation because you are flying by the seat of your pants. And then you can see it on paper and you can right size the problems. That's what we're doing this morning. And one of the metrics, this is where I want to hang out today. One of the metrics we looked at was off the charts great. It was super. And it was it was kind of like flying under the radar with them. They had no idea that it was as good as it was. And we go, dude, you are 2 to 3 times in this area better than the average that we see. I mean, you're slaying it. You had no idea.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect opportunity to leverage that for your company to use your strength for growth. And so it made me think this morning, what do you do? We often talk about coaching our teams through problems and through areas of concern, through difficult times or whatever. But what do you do when you have somebody on your team, and you definitely do, who's absolutely killing it at something? They're excellent at what they do, okay? And you go into their office and you want to coach them from a place of excellence to a place of even greater excellence.
Mm-hmm.
That's the conundrum I want to put in front of you today. Real quick story, and then I'm going to let you talk, Jimmy, because I've yacked enough.
Okay.
I just had this with another individual. I'm coaching, and I walked in, and I go, a month ago, you were in this place, and, you know, flying by the seat of your pants. One day or another, the look on your face every day was exhaustion and freaking out.
Right.
Now you've got proficiency, you're doing well, okay, and you're not in danger. Things actually feel pretty good. And he goes, yeah, you're right. And we sort of stood there, and I go, now what? So let's start there. When you have something great with your team, with an individual you're coaching, through your organization, through your business, and things are going well in some way, how do you coach them from excellence to even greater excellence? Where do you start?
You know, it's interesting how I've seen people that have retired, and as soon as they retire, they've kind of checked out a little bit, and they end up in this world of, and I'm talking about retirement from anything that they've been doing, and they sort of find their new path, whether it's being a grandfather, you become now the bus driver, things like that, for the etc. So and then sometimes we hear from people, I'll never retire. You hear that from me all the time. I'll never retire. Why? Because I love what I'm doing. And all I want to do, and you as well, I know this about you, Kyle, is we always want to be escalating ourselves. We always want to be, how can I be of greater influence? How can I be of greater help to, my constituents, those around me, my community, and things like that. So, and it's almost like a sales training mantra that I've always heard is you can do very little to coach or help great salespeople become better because they do it themselves. They're going to drive it themselves, right? You can do very little for them. The best that you can do is just continue to motivate them, and then continue to motivate the people who are doing average to motivate them to do a little bit better than average, and then a little bit better than that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like it's inherently wired in people, those people that you're talking about, to want to do better. And so that's all I know, is that's how they're wired. How do you have in mind to get them to the next level?
Well, I agree on one sense that there's some people are just wired with excellence in mind. I'm going to push back a little bit, because I think what happens so often is people with excellence in mind, they get to a glass ceiling, they cap out somewhere, and they want to keep doing what they do. Now, totally fine. Honestly, there's plenty of people who find a spot, a rhythm, a production level, and they're like, I'm happy here. I don't really want to
grooving, shaking, moving. Yeah.
And not everyone needs to be entrepreneurial and, gunning for 10x growth all the time. There is something to be said about steady and consistent. It's the name of our show, Slow Growth Business Podcast,
right?
Where the long game is in mind. And so for those people, I think the best thing you can do is just give them the resources to do what they do, and like you said, just let them rock and roll. Take away the pain that they experience in a week, in a day, and let them do what they do best.
Right.
Here's my pushback. while still asking yourself, okay, but is this really the full potential of this person and their impact? Is there more to be realized than where we're at now? Okay. Or am I being content with good enough? Good enough is the enemy of great, as the saying goes.
Right.
And so at what point is it just saying, okay, this is good enough? Okay. I'm content with good enough. Because one day, just hitting the plateau and rocking along, you'll be behind the eight ball,
Right.
you know? So you got to push people. I think, and I don't think you have to like shove them into the future. Again, the concept of what we try and talk through this podcast is not constantly driving for big growth all the time, but seeing the bigger picture in a person and asking yourself, what is this person's potential that hasn't been realized yet? Where is their skill that they haven't noticed? What's the sale that they haven't quite landed? And I'll give you a quick story. Salespeople that I've been coaching, they, for the longest time, had kind of capped the biggest sale that they'd ever made at, I think it was like $50,000 to $70,000. This is in jewelry. And so they kind of kept doing that, and they knew that year after year they could consistently do 20, a 30, maybe a $40,000 sale, and then every once in a while they do a $50,000 to $75,000 sale. And who's going to thumb their nose at someone who's able to do that, especially if you're making really good profit? Like things are fine. There was an opportunity that came up that the window opened, and it was like, you guys actually could make $150,000 sale. So it was twice the largest sale they'd ever made individually. And it was like, I think you can do it. Their first response was, no. We don't, that goes up the chain. That goes to El Jefe. We can't do that. I'm like, why? Well, because this is where we are, and we're really good. We can cap at 75. That's a lot. My gosh, we'd be popping corks of champagne at that. It'd be amazing. No way I could do 150. Couldn't conceive of 150. No possible way. We coached them, sent them on the way. Within a month, they landed $150,000 sale. And at that point, it was like they left that sale and they went, holy cow, I didn't know I could do that. So guess what? Now the $50,000 sale, it's way easier now.
Sure.
Because they've done stuff at 3 times the size. So I think seeing the potential in somebody they haven't realized and gently nudging them towards, you know that you can do more than what you're doing. You can. It's just going to require a few different muscles and trying something out, but you can do it. That's taking people from great to excellence.
Yeah. Well, you and I were talking the other day about it's a lot easier to 10x your business than it is to 2x your business, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to get into that discussion now, but I mean, or if that's relevant in this situation, but a huge part of that is mindset, just getting out, cracking that eggshell that says we can only do $50,000 sales, 70,000,
Well, our client this morning is his response to seeing them doing something excellent. This was one metric, and they were like 2 or 3 times better than the average we've seen.
Right. Yep.
As a default, right? His response was, "Can I show my team this?"
Yeah.
We were like, "Well, we can't stop you from it's your company.
Right.
Go for it, buddy.
Do whatever you want. It's your team."
Yeah. And he's like, "How much can I show them?" And I'm like, "We're like, as much as you want. I mean, it's your company." But his response, I think, is one that is great for leaders. Can I show my people what we're doing and how we're doing it, and not be afraid to show them where we are?
Well, you get buy-in, you get transparency, you get help. you know, to the goals. Or maybe you can get people on your team to push you. Hey, we can do better than that.
Yeah.
You know, that's cool. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
Can
What's
I
the
show my
resistance though? Why it never ceases to amaze me how many companies that we work with don't share any kind of numbers. I mean, they might have a sales number for the month or a sales
right,
goal, but that's not in light of like, here's our profit goal, here's our break even, here's
right,
where we've been. It's just like an arbitrary number that ends up getting put on a board and says, this is what we have to do for the month to
right.
hit a goal, whatever the
Yeah,
goal means.
yeah.
Um, what's the aversion to showing people
It's
one
easy. The
what we're
aversion
doing?
is I don't want people to think I'm making $1.5 million a year from this business. You know, they think because we hit 1.5 million in volume that I'm making 1.4, you know. Don't you think? Don't you think that tends to be
Yeah,
why we want to keep numbers secret?
yeah. And there's a
Boy,
guilt. There's a guilt that people think like owners are like management teams are like, well, if I show them the profit, yeah, they'll misunderstand the profit. They'll misunderstand, and I'm making all this money, and I want them to know how much I'm making. And that's just like educating people in the business. That I mean, that ain't
yeah,
that ain't how it's that's how it is. I mean, it'd be great if it was, but
right.
that ain't. Um,
But I mean, there's a reason why hedge fund managers get paid $12 million a year. You know, that's like, yeah, and why great quarterbacks get paid $30 million a year, right? Am I off
yeah.
on that, or is it 50 or 100? I don't even know what the
Oh,
number is anymore.
Jillian now.
Good Jillian.
But
And
you look at
yeah,
salespeople all the time though, and you know, I have met so many salespeople. There are some who want to hone in the numbers all the time. A bunch that want to look at their numbers because it's like commission based.
sure.
I've met actually very few who really gauge the numbers because they want excellence. I mean, they're
Hmm.
either shooting for a commission check or trying not to get in trouble, I guess. Um,
Right.
but I've also met, and I'm sure you have too. I've met salespeople who go, "I don't want to know the numbers. Put blah 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 blah. Nah 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 nah. I don't want to hear how I'm doing. I just want to go out and do my thing, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't want to do it." So when you have someone who's afraid of, to me, that's a fear. That's that response of, I don't want to hear the numbers. I don't want to know. That's coming from a place of fear and angst most of the time.
Yeah.
What?
It's like not wanting to go to the doctor to hear what's wrong with you.
Yeah. Right.
There element
Yeah.
of that. So
So what do we do with people who are afraid when you show them the numbers, good, bad, or ugly, to coach them to a place of excellence, to show them the potential? How would you frame that, Jimmy, for a salesperson? Maybe he's who is top dog, top banana, and
right.
and you go, yeah, but there's so much more you could do, and frame
Well,
that in a positive way.
I love that you and I both have a tool that we've developed that shows metrics on so many various levels, from profitability to average sale to gross sales, all that kind of thing. And the thing that I've learned to really embrace metrics and learning what they are is that I know that I can greatly affect a metric by just correcting or coaching one little habit. And to bring it down to a micro level, it might be, listen, if I can get you to ask one question for every sale, I know that your metrics will greatly improve. I don't care if they greatly improve. I want them to improve by 3%. Okay. So here's the question I want you to ask. What's important to you in a couch? What's important to you in whatever we're selling? What's important to you? And by hearing that, now we're going to have a whole tool chest of assets that we can use in selling the right thing, which is oftentimes the nicer thing. So anyway, long story short, and I ramble a lot, and so do you, and that's why we have a podcast. Because we love to talk.
Point.
So yeah, to answer your question, if we can, it, I love, I show numbers because I know that I can improve metrics. I can improve numbers by coaching habits. Okay.
Mm.
That's, and so don't come and work for me if you're afraid of numbers. And if you're afraid of numbers, I don't care. I'm going to share them with you anyway, because I'm going to take the mystery out of that.
Yeah.
You know, you and I
Yeah.
both know the mystery. There's no mystery.
No,
It's-
and, and
there's
the
either-
reason
yeah.
I like numbers, we try to boil it down for clients as I want to say as simple and make it demeaning, but as essential, I should say, as it needs to be. A handful, maybe, of things to measure. Is like when you go to the doctor, and we're going to start with your heart rate, your blood pressure, your temperature, your height, and weight. That's every doctor's visit ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Those are very basic things to take. Doesn't take much time. We can get a really good sense of how good you're feeling based on like your temperature, your blood pressure,
Yeah.
right? Why wouldn't I do it? So, okay, so the reason I like numbers and even taking it down to the essentials is because ultimately our performance, our companies, our employees' performances, we're all in a great science experiment that we've created for
Right.
ourselves.
Yep.
Called a business. And if I make a change here, I should see the downstream impact over here.
Mm-hmm.
And the flying by the seat of your pants syndrome is I'm going to make a change over here and I'll know it worked because it will feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Something will feel right, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I can ask you, well, how did you know that marketing campaign worked? I don't know. I just felt like it did. But you have no
Stop
idea.
operating your business subjectively. It doesn't have to, right?
Right. No wonder you are flying by the seat of your pants because feelings are fleeting, right?
Yeah.
And that's where that flying off goes. So taking someone who's already a great performer, who's already doing something well, like our client this morning, yeah, he's 2 or 3 times better in this metric than the average.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be 4 or 5 times? Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I know companies that are doing twice what he's doing in that metric and are just killing it. Now, seeing that on paper, where you're at today, where you've been, we're tracking and trending this. And even though you're doing well, we can still ask ourselves, if I make this tweak here, if I make this change here, if I sell this product over this one, will it make this even better? Maybe. And here's the flip side. You take someone who's an excellent performer and you say, well, let's try this to make it better. They could very well look at you and say, yeah, but I'm already doing good enough. Why would I
Right.
change? And they're kind of right,
Mm-hmm.
right? Leave well enough alone. But slow growth business understands that we're in a science experiment called a business.
Yeah.
So if we're tracking and measuring these key things and we're sharing it with one another, like you described, Jimmy, then if we tried it this month and it absolutely tanked, it will show up in the numbers. And within 1 or 2 months, I'll know, let's not do that anymore. And now we've learned something that we shouldn't do. And isn't
Right.
that just as valuable, if not
That's
more
just as
valuable?
bad. You bet.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. In Gary's book, what was it? Any idiot can do it, or no? Any dumbass could do it, right? The
Yeah.
WD-40 guy, Gary Ridge. That's what he did. They looked at learning opportunities, and that's a learning opportunity. And so, what a wonderfully positive way to look at mistakes. Don't reprimand people for mistakes. Use it as a learning opportunity. Boy, what are we going to entitle this podcast? We are all over the board.
well, it's to me, this is all the essence of starting from taking something from excellent to excellenter.
Love it.
And
it.
here's how I want to wrap it. I really want people to begin to leave this, and maybe we spend some time helping our listeners and viewers think about how to take your greatest strengths and the greatest strengths in your people and elevate them even higher. I'll end it
We're
with
doing
this.
that for ourselves right now.
Literally, before we hit record, we were doing it. We spent 15, 20 minutes having a State of the Train Retail Union address to each other. And we went through and said, okay, this is working. This is where we're at. And listen, our business is the best it's been since we started. We've grown this thing from literally doing nothing together to now we're doing exciting things for clients, and we're thrilled, and the business is good. And we sat here and we've asked ourselves for a couple of weeks, okay, but is it just good enough?
Right.
Or is there a greater impact that we want to make in industries, communities, ultimately leading to kind of an idea we're creating, about to roll out, everyone, about helping you guys, helping you retailers, not just grow your business, but do it with the intention of making major impact in important ways to your community, to your families, through charity. How do we take a community of great listeners like yourselves and say, hey, we're all at good enough, and we want to go to great because we want to change the world,
right?
And in charitable and amazing ways. And I'll even put this in the sphere. What if we had a tribe of people listening who said, I want to do that. I'm in a good place. I want to be in a great place. I want to be in a tribe of people who are making we're making multi-million-dollar impact in our communities every year in significant, purpose-driven ways.
Yeah.
So
and your store may be cooking and may be doing amazing, and you really kind of hate the idea of what's the next step. And maybe the next step is a bigger picture than you had imagined. And so I guess I would ask you to open up that brain a little bit. What could happen if I knew I wasn't going to fail? What would I do? And just start thinking about that kind of thing. And even if it's like Jesse, who wants to have a little dog farm for stray animals, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
If you want to fish with your grandson once a week or whatever, that's amazing too. Whatever your big why is, think about that. Yeah. Think about that. And Kyle and I are going to keep striving to create a community that enables people to achieve their big why. And that's not an ad. That's our hearts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do this. If you're listening to this and you go, I'm in a good place, or I've got people in a good place, or I've got good things, and I want to go to a greater place for greater purposes, hit like, hit subscribe.
Yeah.
Make sure you stay in tune, and you can always reach out to us, find out what we're cooking. We're about to roll out some things in the coming month with some new faces, new excitement coming up. We're super thrilled about. Yeah. So you can get in the front end if you shoot us an email and say, I don't know what you got cooking, but I want to eat it. Give it to me. We'll happily let you in on the first round so that everybody who emails us can find out in advance what we're doing. So Kyle at trainretail.com, Jimmy at trainretail.com. Hit like and subscribe. I think we did it, Jimmy.
See ya.
We'll find out.
We hope you leave this episode a little better than when you first began. If you'd like more resources to grow your business slow, steady, and consistently, check out our on-demand video catalog at trainretail.com. Or if you have a question or frustration we can help address in your business, write to us about it. We love to help solve big, ugly problems. So hit us up at kyle@trainretail.com or jimmy@trainretail.com. Good luck out there, and we will see you next time.